Hi, I'm taking Paul McWhorter's Python 3D vPython lessons, and we're on number 21. Today, he taught us about using widgets. That's those little things that we can use to interact with our program while it's running, and sliders and buttons and things like that. So, pretty interesting. So, show you what we're doing. I'm working over in my mini computer, so I'm using my remote desktop to get into it. So we'll go ahead and make it full screen so we can see what's going on. So I took my, the homework assignment was to take our clocks and do something to use the widgets on them. I had to think about what I wanted to do with that, and I always like to learn along the way too. So I had never learned about the lighting on the vPython, so I did some reading on that and decided to use it to play with the lighting. So basically, so you have local lights and you have distance lights, they call them. So the distance lights are the ones that shine onto your objects, and they, they're far away. They really don't have a source. It's like sort of supposed to be like the sun or daylight coming through a window or something like that. So it seems like when you create these, well, first of all, the scene.lights equals nothing. The scene automatically creates your lights, and I didn't really see a way to control them after they're made. So they show you how to disable the built-in lights. So this would give you no lights at all on your scene if you did that and left it at that. So but they show you that you get this distant light, and this is the direction vector that they gave us. So I just kept it the same way. Changing this gray color seems to be what increases and decreases the lights. But like I said, you can't really change this. It doesn't seem like you can change this once it's created. So I started out trying to just change this number in my code, but it didn't work. So I guess that's not an updatable attribute. So, but you can make them visible and invisible, visible and not visible. So I decided to have two different lights, one with low light intensity and another one with more intensity that we could add to it. So they tell you that add these two together, it shouldn't go over 1. So that's why I got 0.4 and 0.6. They seem to be the ones that make it the way I wanted it to look on the screen. But I'm going to give it a check button where it's like lights on in the house and lights off in the house. So that's what we're starting off with, the extra light off. So it gives us like a really dim view of our clock. So that's what we're doing there. Also, they have what they call local lights, and that's actually kind of neat that they do this, but you can put a local light inside of an object. So I said, well, what could I do with that to make our clock better? And I remember the old Iridium watches, I think it was called Iridium, where they glow blue in the dark. The face glowed blue when you turn the lights off. I know they didn't have a backlight, so this is actually more of a backlight than it is a Iridium thing, because you actually put the light source inside of an object. So our clock face is a cylinder, so I just found the middle of that and put put the light source right in the middle of it, and made the light source blue. And our clock face during the day is normally white, so I mean that's what we have. So and when you have a white clock face and a blue, the blue doesn't shine through very well. One other thing that you have to do is back here where you set up your face, you also have to make the emissive equal true. That lets the light shine through. So we're good with that. But during the day, our clock color is white, and then the blue light doesn't shine through that. But if it in the dark, when we turn the lights out, if we make our clock color blue, update our clock color to blue, then it kind of shines through, so that you get like a glow coming through the clock face. So I thought that was kind of cool. So that's what we're changing on our clock. I also have this wall in here, and I'm going to change color on that. And I'm using my pedal clock, and I decided to use a menu box to change the colors of the pedals, have them not slider, but just a menu box with different colors. So we'll go through what we're doing here in our menu thing. So might as well start at the bottom here. Our menu, this is actually the one that changes our color pedal. So we have a menu, and our choices are these. These are just what shows up in the boxes. And one of the things that you can check on it is the index. So in other words, if you have yellow, it's going to be index 0. Blue would be index 1, 2. So you can check the index. So what I did was made another list with the vectors in it of what the colors are for each one of those. They go all the way out there. So I think there's six choices and 6 colors in the vector. So all we have to do is set our pedal color equal to our pedal colors.index. So if we're on 0, then we're going to be, this vector for yellow. And if we're on orange, this is the vector for orange. So they just coincide, and just a couple lines of code to set them. But since I have pedals all the way around the clock, we have to set each one separately. So we go through a for loop for pedal, and F pedal, flower pedal is what I called the list of pedals. And then we're just updating the color on each one of them. And that's kind of fun the way that worked. Okay, so our next one up is just a radio button. And this is where we do our lights on, lights off type thing. Just click our radio button. It could have been a checkbox or whatever, but I decided to use a radio button. We'll see how that works. So, the radio button has a attribute checked. So all we have to do is r1.checked. If r1.checked, if it's checked, it's, the dots in the center of the radio button is clicked. And if it's not, if a dot's not there, then it's, false. So this is where we're actually changing our light visible, that second light, distant light. We're changing the visibility to true, so it's daytime or lights on. And then we're also changing the face color to white. And then if it's not daytime, if the lights are off, then we're turning that second light source off, and we're changing the color to blue. Basically, pretty just straightforward coding. And then I also wanted, like I said, the wall, I wanted to have something where we could use a slider bar. So the slider, if you don't do anything other attributes, it goes from 0 to 1, which is what we really need for our colors. So I thought the easiest way to do it would be to do it in HSV colors, because that's the easiest way to get color changes with one slider, because if the hue goes across the whole spectrum and I'm just keeping the saturation and value at 1, and you know, you'll get solid colors, but they'll change across the whole spectrum of colors that the HSV can do. But then we have to change it back to RGB to make it work with our color for our things that we're doing, using the conversion HSV to RGB, getting back to our wall color. So it's pretty straightforward what it does as well, and it's a silly type program, but it shows what you can do with the widgets. So we will get it running. I think I'm ready to run it, so let's try it. All right, so as you can see down here, we're lights are off. It's not checked, and our flower colors are yellow. Now let's go ahead and turn it on, and you can see it just brightens it up or dims it. But you can see that that internal light in there, when you turn the clock face, that's actually a glow in the dark. It's actually coming from inside the clock. So that's interesting, pretty interesting there. So just trying out different things in vPython that I hadn't tried before, building on the great foundation that Paul's taught us. So that's good that we're able to keep building on what that foundation is. And then let's see, the slider just changes the color of the background. So you can change your wall to whatever through the. And then for our flower petals, it's a menu item, so we can choose white petals or pink petals, violet petals, blue petals, orange petals on an orange background, and back to yellow. So that's all I got. And like I said, pretty cool the way that works. And if you're following both of Paul's courses with the AI, I've been thinking about how to incorporate widgets and a whole user interface into that. And be on the lookout on my channel for a little video on how I'm using tkinter with AI with CV2 to make it with have a graphic GUI, graphical user interface on that. And that video should be up shortly in my channel as well. Anyhow, thanks, Paul, for all you do. Talk to you later.